Hi everybody, it's Tammy back in the kitchen with another recipe. So if you want to eat a diet that is healthy for you and healthier for the planet, then you need to start to include more vegetables on your plate. At least half your plate should be full of vegetables. So a lot of people just say, but vegetables are so boring and there's so much you can do with vegetables. So really they need to be the star of your plate. So you don't need to load them down with tons of salt. You can use lots of different seasonings. So today we're going to take cauliflower. So I've just chunked it up into, larger florets because we're going to be roasting it in the oven. So roasting vegetables always makes their flavor even better, right? It deepens that flavor. It really brings out or caramelizes all the sugar and carbohydrate that are in veggies. So it's a really awesome way to bump up the flavor. But without adding a lot of salt to this, I'm just going to add a mixture of spices today. And this makes vegetables, it makes it a fast thing, it makes it delicious, and it makes it very good for the planet, obviously. So, a little bit of salt. We are going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, a little bit of fresh ground pepper into my florets, into a nice big bowl so you can toss this, right? And the amounts here are really going to depend again on your tastes. If you're not used to some of the seasonings that I'm using, you might want to use some different combinations, or you might want to go lighter on them or heavier on them, depending on what you like. Good quality olive oil. I'm going to drizzle that on. Nothing's going to stick to this cauliflower unless I put some oil. I also don't want my cauliflower to stick really badly to my pan, so I do want to put some olive oil. I'm going to put a little bit of garlic granules, and again, I'm not going to put fresh garlic on just because it'll burn in the oven because I'm going to have this at quite high heat. So 400 degrees my oven is heating at, so it's going to be nice and hot, caramelize I should say, the veggie. Going to add some turmeric. So this is going to give it some wonderful flavor, but it's also going to give it some amazing color, that bright yellow orange. And then I'm even going to put a little bit of coriander. So you know how you put cilantro in a lot of Mexican cooking? Well, coriander is actually from the seed of the cilantro plant. So that's so sometimes the seed and the leaf get mixed up. Everything gets called coriander, but actually it's the ground seed that's coriander. And then all I'm going to do is just toss this now. And you know what? I have very clean hands, washed them very well before I started the demo, always do. What you can do, you can mix this with a spoon, especially when you're working with turmeric. Sometimes you don't want to get your hands orange, but I find that sometimes the best way to really combine all these seasonings is to just mix it with your hands, because then you can kind of massage in all those wonderful spices, and it really coats the florets really well. So I'm just going to blend that. Of course, my oven is preheating, and you should probably have it already preheated. I have a pan ready here. And there's no need to line this pan or anything. You have the oil on the veggies. Now, what I'm going to do when I'm placing the cauliflower on the pan, I am going to place the bigger florets to the edge of the pan and the smaller florets and sort of the crummies, like the little pieces, to the middle, because the edges of your pan are always much hotter than the center, right? So you want to get those larger pieces out to the edges so they caramelize, and you don't want those smaller pieces at the edges where they're going to burn. And you want this to all be laying flat. You don't want any pieces kind of sticking up in the air, because anything sticking up is going to also burn, because it's going to be sticking up into that hot oven, and it's going to get black pretty quick. Okay, so I just spread it around so that it's nicely even, kind of spread out evenly, and there's my oven. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to get some of this off my hands. A little bit of soap and water almost right away once you finish mixing your ingredients. And usually a lot of the color just comes right off your hands. But turmeric can really stain, so you do want to be careful. Now, before I put this in, I'm going to get my pan of veggies that I already had cooking so that you can actually see. What you want to do is 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes, but that's approximate. You have to test it with a tester, maybe a knife, to see if it's tender. You also want there to be a little bit of color on the vegetables, so a little bit of brown coloring. Wonderful. And for about 20 minutes, like I said, everybody's oven's a little bit different. I will check mine in 20 minutes. If it's not quite ready, I'll give it a few more minutes. If your oven runs a little bit hot, you might even want to try 15 minutes and then test it and see how it's browning, and then just add a little bit more time as you go and just keep watching it. But do put on a timer. It's so easy to forget about your veggies. All right. And there you go, 20 minutes later. Your rice could be in the in your pot 20 minutes, and then you've got some meat maybe, or some fish, or some roasting tofu or something, and you've got a wonderful meal. Let's just have a little taste. So there you've got a beautiful caramelized, nice and soft, but tons of flavor in here. Very yummy. You'll want to eat more vegetables. Give them some flavor, and watch for videos, because I'm going to do lots of things with vegetables so that you can fill half your plate with vegetables and be kinder to the planet and eat a healthier diet. You have yourself a great day. Bye for now.